Wish TV is proud to honor teachers in Central Indiana.
She is an inspiration to all of us.
He's always smiling.
Who go above and beyond.
He's done so many things for so many people.
He's inspirational.
Making a difference.
He's always taught me to believe in myself and never get down on myself.
Everybody's biggest cheerleader.
And deserving of recognition for their outstanding efforts in education.
I love the people that I work with. And to know that I've made an impact on somebody's life, it is truly a great honor.
It's an honor. I love what I do, and the kids are the ones who make it work. I'm like just so taken aback because I love them so much. The fact that, you know, they love me just as much just means a lot. Sorry, you're going to have to cut that part out.
And you are our winner.
Oh, thank you so much.
From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the Golden Apple Awards podcast, sponsored by Bailey & Wood Mortgage Lender.
Hey everyone, Brenna Donnelly here. You nominate teachers, we surprise them with the award and get their whole reaction on camera. More often than not, there's a lot more we want to say about these teachers than we can put on TV. So today, I'm chatting with April's winner, a 45-year veteran teacher from Warren Central. Stick around to hear his thoughts on education, sports in schools, and his own unique style of teaching.
Hi, I'm Bailey of Bailey & Wood Mortgage Lender. Our founder and my dad, Mike Wood, understands the importance of family, which is why with our fast turn times, you can focus on your family and enjoying your new home. Bailey & Wood has donated over $500,000 to local charities, schools, and our hometown heroes. When you use Bailey & Wood, you're partnering with a local family-run business that cares about your community.
Welcome to the Golden Apple Podcast. We're extending the conversation after a really exceptional surprise this month. If you missed it, we honored Mr. Gary Roberts, math teacher and girls lacrosse coach at Warren Central High School. He's been there for 43 years, been teaching for 45, but is not stuck in his ways. During the pandemic, he created a video series, not necessarily related to math, to interact with kids at home. The surprise came and went so fast, so I brought Mr. Roberts on the podcast. Hey there, Mr. Roberts.
Good morning, Brenna.
We're glad to have you on today, especially after a whirlwind of a surprise. I want to hear first off, what did you think of it? We stormed in.
It was definitely a surprise. When second period rolled around and I didn't have any kids in class, you know, I never really expected that. I just assumed that they were honor students, so I just assumed they were off taking an AP exam or something. And eventually I was going to go look for them, but then I wound up in the principal's office and then wound up in the Mediaplex with you and all those wonderful people, and just really an incredible and completely unexpected surprise.
So wait a minute. You went to your second period class, and there were no students there. And you took yourself to the principal's office, or did somebody get you in trouble and to send you over there?
Well, someone mentioned that I needed to check in with the principal, which usually for me it's not a bad thing, but you never really know, do you?
Right. No. Yeah. Well,
He probably wanted to know why I wasn't looking for my kids.
Yeah, he's thinking, oh, wait a minute, he should be more concerned, and you just probably strolled in there like, all right, somebody tell me what's going on.
Yeah, you probably had second thoughts about that whole Apple thing with this guy.
No, we had a great time giving you the award and a great time reading your nominations. And I say plural on that because we had a couple of people tell us all about you. I mean, when you teach, sir, for 45 years, you make quite an impact on your community. And they had some incredible things to say, especially for those who've had you recently. I'm going to tell you a quick story. We pulled up to the front of the high school, right, for the surprise. And there was a security guard there who was making sure we were parking in the right spot. And he must have been in on what we were doing because he wasn't surprised at all to see the video cameras roll out. And so I just started chatting with him. And he goes, oh, yeah, I had Coach Roberts as a student. And I'm here, work here now. And he totally deserves this. I would have nominated him if I had known about it. And that is just one of many people who said, oh, yeah, I had him as a teacher.
You know, a lot of the people over there, even a lot of the teachers will tell you, I had him as a teacher, so it is.
So take me back to the beginning then. What inspired you to be a teacher nearly 50 years ago?
Someone asked me that recently, and when I was thinking about it, I think I just kind of always knew that that's what I wanted to be. When I was kind of in high school and all that, I was involved in scouts and that kind of thing, and just any time I'd find myself in a spot, you know, whether it was teaching somebody how to tie a knot or start a fire or whatever. And then I eventually was working at a scout camp on their waterfront, teaching things like swimming and life. And anytime I found myself in that situation, it just felt like it was what I was supposed to be doing. I mean, I just I just kind of, I don't know, I just felt like, this is what I'm good at. I just kind of always had teaching in me. So I think I kind of knew that was my path. And when I went to college, I didn't change to teaching because something else didn't work out. I went to college with the idea. Now, I went to college with the idea of being a history teacher. I had no idea I'd be a math teacher. But yeah, I mean, I just really do think that there is something, sometimes it's good. It's probably like you. You probably, when you're doing things like this or you're working a story, it just feels right.
It's a good
and you
fit.
know that you're in the right spot.
Yeah. Well, and as you start in any career, but especially in teaching, the first couple of years aren't like the middle couple of years, aren't like the end couple of years, because you kind of figure out how you want to deliver your lesson, how you want to reach kids, how you want to have, what kind of relationship you want to have with them, and the kind of, I guess, persona, the part of yourself you want to exhibit. How did you come to find your own style of teaching? Was there an experience that you had early on that kind of made you feel like, okay, I get to be myself in front of the kids?
Well, my first teaching experience, my wife and I taught 2 years in Australia. They had a teaching shortage back in the mid-'70s, and a lot of American teachers were recruited to go there, and we taught there 2 years.
Wow.
And when I walked into class that very first day, there was basically no curriculum. There was no, they basically told me, you can do whatever you want. And so there I am in front of 20 kids who fortunately speak English.
Mm-hmm.
So I really kind of learned early on to be kind of self-sufficient and to, be pretty adaptable, I think. I mean, and you said that, you kind of develop, sort of your thing. And I think the interesting thing of teachers about teaching is that that's changed probably in 45 years, probably 10 or 12 times. You kind of have to keep reinventing yourself a little bit because the climate of your school changes, the expectations of what we're doing change. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of it's been really kind of a continuous evolution. There was never any particular couple of years to get used to it, then figure it out. And the cool thing about teaching is it is always changing. I mean, who in the world would have expected to have a year like we just had?
Right.
And, just having to, being able to just kind of say, okay, well, this is how it is now and figure it out. I mean, I think that's part of the fun of it.
I know a big part of your career isn't just in the classroom, it's on the sports field. Is that because you were an athlete growing up?
Not a very good one, but yeah, I love sports. I played, I played Little League baseball, and I love baseball. And when I was in high school, I grew up in New Jersey, and for no apparent reason, soccer came to our high school. So soccer was a sport I fell in love with. Mm-hmm. And then when I went to college, I just walked on and was on the soccer team. And I just always felt like coaching was a way that I could stay in the game. I mean, I knew that I wasn't going to be a professional soccer player or any other sport, but I love sports, and being a part of sports through coaching is just a way to stay in it. And over time, what I found is it's a part of teaching. Like right now, I couldn't imagine teaching and not coaching or coaching and not teaching. So I just think the two are, for me anyway, the two are really interlaced as part of what I do.
Well, we mentioned in our Golden Apple feature that you're in the Soccer Coaches Hall of Fame for the States, but you've also won the Girls Lacrosse Coach of the Year before. Tell me how you got the girls lacrosse program started at Warren Central, because it sounds like there's a story there.
Well, first of all, it wasn't my idea. We dropped gymnastics at Warren Central years ago, so we had 10 boys sports and 9 girls, and our athletic director had been looking around for a sport to replace that. And at that time, we had a young man and young lady who transferred here from Garin High School. The brother played football here, and the sister, Grayson, had been a really good lacrosse player at Garin. And they transferred here. She was a junior, and she had to hang around and wait for him after football practice to go home. So she came out for soccer to have something to do. So I kind of got to know her pretty well. And then later that year, she and the athletic director came down and said, hey, we'd like to do lacrosse. We're going to try to find somebody who can coach that, but we probably wouldn't be someone here in the building. Would you just be, the guy in the building to kind of help with the fields and, keep track of the kids? And I said, yeah, I can do that. And then it wasn't too long. They said, hey, we can't find anybody. We need you to coach. And I told the athletic, look, I don't know anything about this, so you probably need to keep looking. But to be honest, it was when Grayson came down and just said, Coach, I'll help you with this. We can do this.
Wow.
And it was just really hard to say no to her. And to be honest, and she was awesome. I mean, she was the perfect kid for that. When we'd be out of practice, she would kind of at a break come over. Coach, we might want to try to tweak the, she didn't like do it right on forever.
Call you
she
out in
was
front of
really
everybody.
discreet. She was perfect. And, it wouldn't have mattered to me if she had, but she was just a perfect kid. And, I kind of, over those 2 years, fell in love with lacrosse. And I've been to conventions in Baltimore where all the lacrosse world meets. And the coaches around here have been incredibly helpful in helping me to get started. So I really learned a lot. I had a lot still to learn, but it is kind of, to me, it's the adventure of doing something that's new. I'm not sure if when you're 60, you're supposed to start a brand new sport that you've never seen before, but it just kind of, it's hard to say no to that one kid, and, here we are now.
Well, and now you've touched the lives of lots of girls and boys at Warren Central High School. They had amazing things to say about you. Your students laughed as well, saying you've made this video series and essentially connected them in a different way during the pandemic. And I got to tell you, Gary, I watched some of these.
Oh, no, that's probably not a good thing.
Well, no, there's one where you're teaching kids. It's actually a math one, right? And you're talking about how long you can drive until I think you hit a certain number on the odometer or something like that. That's an actual math problem. And then I click to the next one, and it's you reading a story to a camera. And then the one after that is the famed Cheez-It Chicken episode.
Oh, yeah, the Cheez-It Chicken, yeah.
You got to tell me where this came from, because you're not just teaching math with these videos. Why are you making them?
Right I remember the day it was a Thursday at lacrosse practice when, every 10 seconds the phone would click and be, the Ohio governor shut down education, this, that, and the other. And by the time we went home that night, school was shut down. And the next day, people went in and got their stuff. And I could really sense just the communication. The kids were really, there was a lot of anxiety there. And as the, a couple of weeks kind of went along, and remember, we were sheltered in place. I mean, most of the kids, they were at home and they didn't really know what was going on. And I thought, well, you know what, maybe what they just need is just, I can't remember what I called it, something with Coach Roberts. I can't remember what it was.
Cookin with Coach was the Cheez-It one.
Well, that was one of them, yeah. And then I think that was the first one I did. And then the kids would all respond to that, and it really seemed like I had managed to hit some kind of a chord, that this was something that they really needed. And I found it I did too, because it was a way that I could get kind of back in touch with them. And then, so I think my wife said, sometimes older kids really like stories. I said, well, okay, fine. So I made a video and I read the story, and the response to that was better than it was to the other stuff. They really seemed to like that. A couple of them said, that's a book I haven't read in years. And others of them just said, oh, it was really cool to read, because they were just they were kid stories.
Well, it was your commentary too that had me laughing. I used the clip in the full story that we shared on Wish TV of you taking an aside, to say, I watched that Tiger King show, and there's an example of somebody maybe taking creative a little too far. Just being real, but I mean, it was all students.
It was completely unscripted, which is kind of how my classes are too. The kids will sometimes say, Mr. Roberts, I'm going to be out next week. Can I get the assignments? And I said, well, I don't really know what they are. and they say, well, how am I supposed to do it? I said, well, you'll be fine, but I really can't even tell you what we're doing tomorrow until I kind of know how today turns out. So I don't really have, I don't really work from scripts, and that wasn't a script. Like, I'm not working from one now. I thought, we touched base a little bit, but I thought, you know what, we'll just kind of do this cold and
just be yourself,
have our conversation.
Well, that makes a difference.
Yeah, but I think kids
appreciate
that. I think the kids like that. I mean, I think if anything, they just kind of feel like, I mean, they don't really know the complete me, but I think they appreciate the me that I allow them to be a part of.
Well, and it shows the genuine teacher. The teachers are more than just their subject, and it's funny that you mentioned your wife mentioning the book, because you see hints of her in some of these videos without actually seeing her. I mean, you're inside the kitchen, bustling around, and you're in the living room, and you can just tell it's the two of you in your home. But has she laughed through all this, or has she rolled her eyes through all this? What's her reaction?
Sometimes. Probably you should have had cameras at our home the morning when she was trying to get me to wear a tie to school on the morning of the surprise.
I think I heard about
she and my daughter, I mean, it was kind of a scene where they kind of got me to change into that because they said they needed a picture. But then when, she came back up, I had taken the shirt and the tie off and was back the way I was. And so that was, so she rolled the eyes some, but she's kind of an inspiration. She's an incredible kindergarten teacher. And, if you're ever stuck for a story, you should visit her co-op kindergarten. They meet once a week at Fort Harris. I mean, it's an incrable thing for kids.
I didn't know she was a teacher,
but I get a lot
of
inspiration. Yeah, so I get a lot of inspiration from her. The kind of adventures that she enjoys with kids. Because, to be honest, kids in high school are not that different from kids in kindergarten.
Is that so? Well, I like to hear the inspiration behind the inspirer, because we had a great time giving you the award and hearing from those who care about you so much and are so positively impacted. And I know there's always somebody behind the somebody, inspiring and helping and encouraging, and there's experiences that build you up to who you are today. So congratulations again on winning the Wish TV Golden Apple Award, and for all the hard work you do at Warren Central.
Well, thank you very much. I do appreciate it. It's been a real high watermark for me. I really do appreciate it.
If you know a teacher changing lives without recognition, please nominate them and tell me their story today. For more information and to submit a nomination, just go to wishtv.com/goldenapple.
The Wish TV Golden Apple Awards podcast, sponsored by Bailey & Wood Mortgage Lender. Nominate a teacher and learn more at wishtv.com now. Be sure to follow and subscribe to this podcast and discover even more great podcasts now on the All Indiana Podcast Network at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.